Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering all kinds of craziness. Starbucks coffee is in a lot of trouble. They've been caught being super-de-duper racist. Racist to black people. Racist to white people. Why are they so racist? I thought they were just in the coffee business. It's really difficult times right now. They were just exposed in a lawsuit and they tried to defend it. They tried to say, hey, we never did anything like that. But they kind of did do it, and they got caught doing it. Coming from the Daily Mail, white Starbucks manager who ran a Philadelphia store where two black men were refused access to a bathroom, which does sound pretty racist, I've got to say, they got their own settlement. And it caused protests at the time, is awarded $25 million as jury fines. She was fired because of her race. So they got into this situation. And you know what? Let's get into this whole story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. I'm trying to get to 25,000 subscribers, so if you can subscribe, please do subscribe. Thank you so much for that. How did Starbucks get into this situation? I thought they were just in the premium coffee business. They are in the premium coffee business, but somehow they keep getting mixed up into trouble. A white Starbucks manager who was fired when her staff refused to let two black men use the bathroom at a Philadelphia store has been awarded $25.6 million. Shannon Phillips on Monday won her lawsuit against the coffee giant and was handed $25 million in punitive damages and $600,000 in compensatory damages. That is a lot of money. The compensatory damages are to compensate her for money she would have made if they had not fired her. That's her salary. And that's actually a pretty good salary. She's not just an average Starbucks manager. She was a regional manager, so it was bigger dollars. She was responsible for like 100 stores. The punitive damages is to punish Starbucks for being so super-de-duper racist against her, the poor white manager. A federal jury in New Jersey found the company had given her the boot because she was white, which violated her civil rights. She can't control being white. She was born that way. The lawsuit finally came to an end this week, 5 years after the arrest of the two black men at the Starbucks in Rittenhouse Square, Philadelphia. Rashawn Nelson and Dante Robinson had been waiting for a meeting when they were just refused access to the toilet and were asked to leave before the cops were called. Their arrest prompted widespread outrage and protest after footage of the incident emerged and Starbucks was accused of racism and boycott threats. Ms. Phillips, who oversaw the location as well as about 100 other locations and would have been paid up to $200,000, was quickly fired, but in 2019 sued the coffee chain, claiming it was due to racial bias. Following her victory on Monday, her lawyers said they were very pleased with the unanimous verdict. She said that she proved by clear and convincing evidence that punitive damages were warranted under New Jersey law. That lawyer did a hell of a job. In the lawsuit, Ms. Phillips, who worked for Starbucks for 13 years, claimed she had nothing to do with the arrest, but was still fired from her job a month later. Cell phone footage of the arrest went viral after it showed Mr. Nelson and Mr. Robinson being detained inside the store after they sat without ordering anything. Whenever I go into a store and I want to use their restroom, or I'm going to hang out there, I do actually buy something. That's just kind of on me. Usually it's a soda. I really like soda, but it doesn't mean you have to buy something. I mean, the store can come up with their own policy as long as they apply it to everyone, regardless of what they look like or their skin color. It seems fair that you can set whatever store policy you feel you need to set. I do remember this story back in the day. It was kind of disturbing to see two people be arrested just for hanging out inside of a Starbucks. Because you put two and two together, it doesn't really make sense. They didn't do anything criminal by just sitting in a store. I mean, it's a public place. But if they were asked to leave, did the company have a right to ask them to leave? That's tricky. I guess the answer is no, because they had to settle with those guys as well. The arrest sparked protest and prompted more than 8,000 locations to close down so the company's 175,000 employees could undergo racial bias training. Ms. Phillips said she worked tirelessly to help repair community relations in the wake of the controversy, according to the lawsuit. And I'm sure she can document that because she seems quite sophisticated. In her role as regional manager, Phillips said she oversaw around 100 stores across Philadelphia, New Jersey, Delaware, in Maryland. She claims Starbucks started punishing white employees who weren't involved weeks later in a bid to publicly prove they were handling the incident. Now, that is pretty bad. They should not be doing that. They've got to come up with a policy and stick with the policy consistently. It's the only way they're going to prevent themselves from getting into trouble like this. Hopefully, there are other lawsuits if they were treating white employees differently after this event happened. They had nothing to do with it. Ms. Phillips alleges the firm ordered her to put a white male manager who had worked for the company for 15 years on administrative leave because of a race discrimination allegation against him. The allegation was based on complaints non-white employees at that manager's store were paid less than white workers. Now, that is a problem, but you do also have to look at the history of, okay, well, how long have you worked at the company? What have you accomplished at the company? People do get reviews when they are employees from their superiors. They get to say, hey, your timeliness is this, complaints against you are that. They keep a file on each employee, and employees are entitled to that. They're entitled to get regular reviews on the quality of their work so that they do know what's expected of them and so that they do have a chance to excel on the job and get paid more money, which they deserve to get, not based on their skin color, but based on how they're performing on their job. Ms. Phillips said she argued the male manager didn't have a say in wages. The lawsuit also said Ms. Phillips objected to suspending him because she said the manager wasn't racist and she had never seen him exhibit discriminatory behavior. If that manager had no authority over wages, it's a little bit ridiculous to put the guy on administrative leave and take him out of his job because people under him aren't making the same money or whatever the allegation is. If that's not his area of authority, how are you going to hold him accountable for that? Let me know what you think about that in the comments below. I mean, that seems to be a step too far. She argued in comparison, and this is important, where the black manager of the store where the actual arrests were carried out did not face any disciplinary action. Well, I mean, that's a little bit ridiculous. If the manager who was responsible for these two gentlemen being arrested for not being able to use the bathroom or whatever, if that manager wasn't held accountable, why are you going to hold a white guy accountable who has no authority to affect the pay of the people under him? That doesn't make any sense. Ms. Phillips said the black manager's subordinate was the one who called 911 after the two men sat down and refused to leave after being told they couldn't use the bathroom without purchasing something. She claims she was fired soon after and told the situation is not recoverable. Starbucks denies the claims in the lawsuit, but has not commented on the outcome. The two black men ended up reaching a settlement with Starbucks in the aftermath for an undisclosed sum and an offer of free college education. Well, that's nice, a free college education. Separately, they reached a deal with the city for a symbolic $1 each and a promise from officials to set up a $200,000 program for young entrepreneurs. Quote, "We thought long and hard about it, and we feel like this is the best way to see that change that we want to see," Mr. Robinson said at the time. Another quote, "It's not a right now thing that's good for right now, but I feel like we will see the true change over time." The men said they were at the Starbucks location waiting for a meeting with a third man about a potential real estate opportunity. No charges were ever filed against them following their arrest. The incident proved a major embarrassment for Starbucks, which has long projected an image as a socially conscious company. We know recently Starbucks is under some pressure because they've apparently announced, and they claim they haven't, but their union has claimed that Starbucks has announced that you're not allowed to put up LGBT decorations during Pride Month. I don't know about these decorations. I don't know if employees should be putting up decorations of any kind anyway, but that's another whole video. During the uproar, then Starbucks CEO Kevin Johnson went to Philadelphia to apologize to the men. He also ordered more than 8,000 stores across the United States to close so 175,000 workers could get training in unconscious bias. But it doesn't seem like the manager who was responsible for all this was actually held accountable. And that is a little bit disturbing because you really have to hold people accountable for what it is that they do. Starbucks is in an unwinnable situation unless they're going to go ahead and try to address the actual problems they have in their stores. They need to have one rule for all their stores, and they need to have one rule for all their employees. They obviously can't treat their white managers differently than they treat their black managers. They can't treat their black employees differently than they treat their white employees. That's not going to work, especially when they lose $25 million lawsuits You can't be on the wrong side of both equations. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Do you think Starbucks was right to hold the white manager accountable for something she had absolutely nothing to do with? Additionally, do you think they were right to hold that other guy, that other white manager, responsible for something that he had no control over? He had no control over pay. So why are you going to punish that guy for not making sure that black employees and white employees were earning the same amount? I don't know how he could have done anything about that. Always love to see your ideas. Really appreciate your comments below. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.